Hello everybody and welcome back. It is good to talk to all of you again today, and today we're going to look at HMCS Haida, the still work in progress ship. But before I get to this, first things first, announcing the winner of the CCT code from yesterday's video. Bisco, I don't think I pronounced that right, but that's what it looks like to me. You have won yourself a CCT crate code. Please drop me an email. You can find my email in the video description below. Also, I am going to redraw. So today I'm going to draw, well, for this video, and in the next video I'm going to announce two winners, because I believe Sailing Master from the last video never claimed his code. And so yeah, leave your comments in the comment section below, and of course I will get around to drawing two codes during the next video. Alright, so with that all out of the way, let's talk about HMCS Haida. Please keep in mind that this is a work in progress ship. Anything that I say here can and potentially will change by the time the ship makes it to the live servers. This is already the second iteration, I believe, of the Haida. They've already tweaked her gun angles a little bit more. Feels like they've tweaked the torpedo angles a little bit. They've definitely tweaked the smoke. The smoke is a lot more useful now. And yeah, she's a better ship than she was when I first played her. The first iteration of HMCS Haida was it was a train wreck. This one is better. I definitely am going to say this one's better, but I feel like this is a kind of ship that is probably going to end up being, let's say, rather selective of the player. So this ship is going to work really, really well with the people who can really abuse her characteristics. So if you are someone who is quite comfortable playing up close, engaging other destroyers in close-up battles, maximizing your moving smoke and hydroacoustic search, and doing the initial thing, which is hunting down enemy destroyers, which is what I'm doing right here. You do have really good concealment, by the way, for a destroyer. So first job for me is to go here and hunt down a few of these enemy destroyers, being the two Fubukis on the enemy team. And they don't really know that I'm coming, and so when I start shooting, I really do get the drop on them. Now, they can pop smoke. A lot of destroyers will do this. They get into trouble and they will pop smoke. And with Haida, you do have a hydroacoustic search, and you can go up close and use that hydro to flush them out or kill them while they're in their smoke. It also does provide you against some form of defense against enemy torpedoes when you're using your own smoke as well. So definitely a very handy thing to have on a destroyer. Although the hydroacoustic range is a little bit short. Ship acquisition range, if I remember correctly, is about 3.2-ish. But it is definitely usable, as proximity spotting range is 2 kilometers, and so if you find an enemy destroyer in smoke hiding, like this Fubuki is here, you're going to be able to get into this range and start shooting at them, and they have absolutely no idea where you are. Mostly because creeping smoke plus hydro, kind of a deadly combination. Alright, so aside from that interesting sort of task that you do at the beginning, and mind you, you are very, very competent at killing destroyers, especially sort of up close. You have a good number of guns, right? But don't try to really hit destroyers at range. The arcs of the shells are not exactly all that forgiving, and at longer ranges, unless you're hitting battleships or like ships that are sailing perfectly straight, larger ships at that, generally speaking, don't shoot, because one of your major strengths is stealth. This ship, I will say, it's demanding. It really does require skill to play. Haida is not an easy ship. She is very dependent on the player. If you're not a very good player, this is a ship where you're most likely not going to have all that much fun. She's one of those ships that, again, has, let's say, certain tools, certain things that can be useful, but she's also very lacking in certain other areas. So, for example, as a destroyer, you really do think that torpedoes are going to be kind of important. Well, 1 torpedo launcher, 4 torpedoes. Run up against bigger ships, a battleship, even if you hit all 4, you might not be able to kill them. 4 torpedoes, trying to flush enemy destroyer out of smoke, not enough either. So there's definitely some very visible issues with the ship as well. Historically, one of the advantages of this particular ship was the fact that she had another 2 guns in the form of a dual purpose secondary, except in World of Warships it's rendered as a secondary gun that just never does anything. So you really only have 6 guns, when historically the reason why you had only 4 torpedoes was because you had a heavier gun armament. The absence of those extra guns, combined with the fact that you just don't have enough torpedoes, and yeah, she becomes a little bit underwhelming there in terms of her weapons. Her most direct sort of competitor, if you want to sort of compare their sort of weapon loadouts and things like that, would probably be the Gajah on the Pan-Asian line. And that ship has the same number of guns, but it has like 10 deep water torpedoes versus 4. Yeah, see, like, I don't think I would trade what the Gajah has for a moving smoke and a hydro. I just don't think that would be worthwhile in my eyes. Gajah probably most likely will continue to retain her place as a very, very, very strong tier 7 destroyer, while Haida, if she stays in her current form, I think will most likely be picked up by a select group of people. You know, maybe collectors. For example, I would probably have to buy the ship just because, you know, she's Canadian. Have to get it for collection purposes, but yeah, I just don't really think this is a ship for the large majority of people out there. There's going to be a small group of people who can absolutely abuse the crap out of that moving smoke, hydro, concealment, and just be that expert destroyer hunter and then turn into that expert sort of team support destroyer player. Even though smoke itself is actually very, very selfish, since it is like a moving smoke that dissipates very quickly. But some people, this might be something that they are amazing at, that they can just do that job perfectly. But I just feel like for the large majority of players, this is probably not going to happen. And it'll probably be better for them to stick to some of the other tier 7 destroyers that we have out there right now. Gajah, for example, maybe the Leningrad. Some people might still prefer, of course, the pure torpedo boats, so maybe stick with the Japanese ones there. Haida, I just really think is going to be that very sort of selective type of ship. Is there anything I think they could do to maybe make the ship a little bit more interesting? Or maybe just to make it so that she has a little bit more of her own flavor to it? Oh boy, one of the more wacky ideas I had was, hey, you know what? Maybe take that dual secondary gun that it has, the dual purpose one, and like really buff the crap out of it. Like, take that one gun, give it that super amazing dispersion, like kind of the kind of dispersion you get with the Massachusetts, you know, that 40% innate one, but also maybe like throw in the bonus from like manual secondaries, because, you know, it's only one turret, right, with only 2 guns. So, and then, you know, give it some range, and so then with the combination of the main guns and that one secondary gun that has good range and good accuracy, maybe you can get like a quasi 8-gun destroyer going. That could be pretty exciting, because all of a sudden you do really have that gun firepower, right? That could be something. I mean, obviously they can't like give it anything to do with torpedoes, because that wouldn't make any sense. A torpedo reload booster, I don't think would. Yeah, I don't really think torpedo reload booster should be a thing. Just because I'm not really a huge fan of just like constantly giving more consumables and more consumables and more consumables to just like add flavors to ships. But maybe, yeah, that like secondary thing could be done. Maybe, and this is, I think, even less likely, because, you know, Wargaming does like to do premium ships as a sort of, you know, like once we've done it, and whatnot. But what if Haida was to be given her sort of like the Cold War era refit, right? And that is as an alternative hull setup. That maybe could be a thing, just to have a DFA equipped tier 7 destroyer that's different from the Sims, right? Because the Haida does have the dual 3-inch 70s, and I believe there was like 2 of them in the rear at one point in time during her refit or post refit. And then you've got the 4-inch dual purpose guns that she had in the front. I don't know, maybe have all those things be tied to a DFAA, making her kind of like a strong A destroyer. Okay, kind of spitballing a little bit here. But see, that would be interesting, because then she would have these 2 different kind of roles that she could fulfill, right? If you're division with a carrier, you could be that AA help. If you're division up with, like, let's say, other battleships, cruisers, or whatever, you can be that standard DD role, be a DD hunter. See, those could work. Those could work, right? But yeah, just in her current state, even after the changes, she has gotten better, that's for sure. Like, she's definitely more playable now. That moving smoke, because it recharges that much faster, it's usable. It can help you get into positions to engage targets and things like that. But yeah, there's still, to me, a lot of weaknesses about this particular destroyer. Like, historically, you know, her strength was supposed to be her guns, but her guns are just not really all that spectacular, considering you've got other destroyers at this tier with similar firepower, you know, aka Gajamada. And that huge sacrifice in torpedo power is just not really worth it. Against those really big, bulky targets like a battleship, it's not easy to deal with at all. You just don't have enough with the torpedoes. So perhaps these are some things that Wargaming can consider with Haida. You know, I don't want her to be brokenly overpowered. That is not... Okay, I mean, fine. My inner Canadian wants it to be brokenly overpowered, obviously. But for gameplay purposes, obviously I want a ship to be nicely balanced, to be fair, to have its own place in the game, while being sort of unique in its own kind of way, right? So it's not competing with another ship for gameplay style or whatever. Can be on its own, have its own kind of thing, and still be an interesting ship to play. Anyways, that was the final result screen from this battle. Managed to sink 4 ships. Damage wasn't that amazing, 63,000, but again, tier 7 destroyer, right? It's okay. 480,000 credits earned. Did manage to hit a torpedo, got some good hits in. Very good base experience total, considering. 1955, easily top of the team. And if we take a look at our detailed report there, see a kind of a nice balance between HE and AP damage, some torpedo damage, little tiny bit of fire damage. And finally, here we go. Credit earning wasn't too bad with a premium account, 355,000. Anyways, folks, what do you think of the Haida? Are you looking forward to the ship? Do you think some changes could be made? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And also, Germany lost to Mexico today. Holy crap. World Cup soccer always has some moments of entertainment. Anyways, folks, have yourselves a really good weekend, and I will talk to all of you again in the very next video.